Were the rumors true? You did what? You're a fool. My orders were to discover the way in and get that information to me. That was it. You cannot solve every problem by swinging an axe into it. There's a good chance you only shook their nest, and the last thing we need is a goblin clan going berserk across the Shire. But perhaps I am being too harsh. While it is true you disobeyed my orders and I will not endorse that behavior, you did clear out a goblin camp by yourself. That is no small feat, and it should not be overlooked. Here is your reward. What would you like to do next? I'm going to hand you over to Tinruth for this one. She'll be needing help collecting some of our more basic needs. It's tedious work, but necessary. Speak to her to receive your orders in broader detail.
Huh? Good day. Thorman asked you to help with a food supply run? Finally! It's about time I washed my hands of these trivial tasks. I'm glad he found a replacement. You'd better get well acquainted with duties like these. You'd be carrying them out a lot, that's for sure. Our food supply is running low again. And contrary to some folks' favorite legends, we can't survive without it. Since you're new here, I'll make it simple. You collect the field berries and wood deer venison. Should be easy enough as they're both located in the ravine field forest. I'll handle the rest. Sound fair? We should start immediately. If you think the others are a little grumpy now, just wait till their bellies are empty. I'll meet you back here when you're done.
See what you can do against my blade.
Come out, thief in the shadow.
Yes? Good. This should last us a short while at least. Thorman told me to give you this. Go ahead and speak with him again next chance you get.
Hey, Durisk, could you smith Tinruth a new sword? She lost the last one.
Lost? I didn't lose it. It split in half.
Impossible. I don't craft weapons that fragile. You must have failed to take proper care of it, or you handled it incorrectly.
There's a reason I said lost, Tinruth. But if you think you can convince Durisk there was a flaw in his design, go right ahead.
Something you need? My past? Wow, no one's ever asked me that before. I mean, of course. Typical newcomers are quite unlikely to find even the dullest days of a ranger interesting in comparison to their own lives. I must have forgotten that. Perhaps, but I must be ever careful to give proper credit where credit is due. My accomplishments are far too significant to ignore, after all. Now anyway, you asked about my past. I was raised alongside Adonin, my older brother, by my aunt and uncle. My uncle took it upon himself to teach Adonin the tricks and values of a ranger when his work permitted. I guess he must have felt bad about excluding me from their exercises, because it was not long before I was involved in the training. Adonin wasn't the slightest bit fond of this, however. I guess being beaten in a spar by his younger sister was too much to handle. He'd probably still complain about it today if you were here. One. But it was an intense one. If you'd talked to him, he'd probably say I rigged it. But how was I supposed to know where the end of the cliff was? Well, we used to battle everywhere we could. The higher up, the better. And I may might have tripped him. But I certainly didn't know he'd fall 10 yards in the air. I just assessed the situation and worked quickly to take full use of my advantage. Something did. Or rather, he brought something upon himself. I don't really want to talk about it right now, okay? In fact, there's some other tasks the others wanted me to carry out. I should probably get those done. Maybe later, alright. I prefer to focus on the present or future for the moment.
Outlander? Yes? What are the specifics? Sheriffs are halfling volunteers. They aren't so much here to enforce the law as they are to help their neighbors and keep the Shire safe from the agendas of outside folk. In a way, their work is similar to our own. Except, they are civilians for the most part, and cannot hope to defend this land from the darkness that overshadows it. You must forgive them. Outlanders like you or I have not given them any reason to respect us. Unfortunately, most big folk who enter the Shire come here only to take, and leave nothing in return. They are peaceful folk, and they do mean well, despite what foul words might escape their lips. I'm glad to see you're capable of empathy. That is a fine trait for someone devoted to protecting others, even if only doing it for the coin. I'm not going to lie, Outlander. The goblin raids of old, they were nothing compared to what's coming. A darkness overshadows the Shire, one that cannot be repelled by rangers alone. We need all the help we can get, and if Buy or Sell trusts you, then I'm willing to give you a shot. We'll talk more about it later, alright? What would you like to do next? You'll need to speak with Fordun then. He's in charge of upkeeping and maintaining the base. You'll find him downstairs.
Huh? If there's something you need, I'm probably not the one to talk to, but I can point you in the right direction. Not at all. What's on your mind? Dragons? What are you talking about? Such creatures haven't been seen in these lands for over 1,000 years. Alduin who? World Eater. Listen to yourself. You sound worse than the halfling folk tales. Dragons. That's a good one. Yes, I suppose I was rather vague last time we spoke of it. As I'm sure you guessed, my talent with a bow, celerity with a dagger, and ability to avoid being seen, even among halflings, were not skills acquired overnight. It took years of careful study, strong discipline, and sufficient demonstration. But I personally cannot take any credit for being the man I am today without first looking to my father. It is because of his guidance that I can call myself a ranger, and because of his instruction that I can prove myself worthy of such a title. Even if I didn't always seem grateful when I had to track a herd of deer or survive a month in the wilderness, I'll never forget the time he spent preparing me for the dangers on the road ahead. I have a good reason to be. He was a father first and a ranger second, and he made every attempt to display that. But as a ranger, he was one of the best. While not counted among the strongest or bravest, he had a simple philosophy that brought him victory where better men had fallen. Those who cannot change their ways cannot change their mistakes. He did not fear change, but welcomed it, and he recognized that when one way proved ill, another path had to be taken. To fail is acceptable, to repeat that failure is not. If only he could have been here to tell my current company that. But perhaps I would have ignored him all the same. How refreshing it is to hear that come out of a mouth that isn't mine. Perhaps with another voice to back me up, the others will finally listen. But the day when your opinion matters to Thorman is far from now. And by then it may be too late. That's not something I'm prepared to talk about right now. Perhaps later, if you stick around, but not now. Anyway, was there something else? Believe me, I don't mean to. These are dangerous matters we face, and they require serious judgment. It's just hard to take anything sincerely when others insist on making pointless decisions and wasting precious time. I'm not a fan of rushing these talks. Perhaps we can discuss it sometime later. Straight to the point, aren't you? Good, that's how I prefer my help. Idle chatter is best left for those with the time to afford it. I'm not quite sure how much exploring you've done here, but if you've looked around the hideout recently at all, you've probably noticed a few worn out or damaged sections, especially in the stonework or wood. We need materials to fix these areas. That's where you come in. You need to purchase 15 teak planks in Furtherhill and 20 stone blocks from Siri. Don't worry about transporting these materials, we've had many transactions with these halflings before. Just tell them to drop it off 50 meters west of Barg End by the big oak tree. They'll understand. Then, so long as the new master of Barg End complains less than his predecessor, we'll pick it up from there and I'll begin the repairs. All you need to do is place the orders. Here's the coin you need. 100 for lumber, 150 for stone. Don't spend it on anything else. You'll get more than this as a reward if you do as instructed. Hey, Durisk. I need some arrows before I head out on the next mission Thorman's got lined up.
Don't leave without picking up some goods for second breakfast. Care to look at my wares? It will only take a moment of your time.
Of course. How much do you need? I'm sorry, but 100 gold just isn't enough to purchase the type of wood you want. Maybe at one time it was, but with these strange happenings in the Shire lately, many folks aren't buying lumber anymore. I had to raise my prices so I wasn't forced into firing my workers. You're about 65 short of the amount of teak you want. Thanks for understanding. I'll get the lumber to the spot requested.
Most of my people don't take too kindly to big folk. You look like the type that would head off in one of those adventures. Yes? Oh, it's been a while since one of you stopped by. Say, you're not the usual chap. Whatever happened to him? That's good to hear. Is he still as outright boring as ever? You don't have to answer that. I think I already know. But you're here to purchase stone, right? Always a pleasure doing business for your kind. I'll get the stone to that usual spot of ours. It's a good thing old Mad Taggins ain't still living over there. He always used to throw a fit whenever I took my wagons across his grass. Anyway, take care now.
Top of the morning to you. Indeed, I just brought them back to the base. They're precisely what we needed. You take orders well. Here's your payment. Not at all. What's on your mind? Indeed I have. Here you are. This should cover the basics. Not at all. What's on your mind? Yep,